Hey friends, welcome to July. This is when we're going to go over predominantly headphones this month, and I'm trying to bang this out as quick as possible, just one after the other as much as I can. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed, belled, and all that sort of stuff, so that you can keep track of what we are reviewing. I am starting to shoot some shorts now, so definitely check those out as well. I gotta be algorithm friendly. It wasn't the easiest thing to learn, but I'm working on the loops for you guys. So you can see a shorter version of these reviews, or even just like things that I missed, really quick thoughts through the short stuff. So definitely check those out. But this week we are going over the Master & Dynamics MW08s. And these are the updated versions of the 07s, which were relatively well received. However, there were some quirks, I believe, with fit as well as ANC, so we can see if they've actually improved upon those in this iteration. But yeah, let's check out this shiny guy. MW08s come in really nice packaging, I'm not gonna lie. So they do use a lot of cardboard here, which is again recyclable, as well as the fact that it makes it have like this nice sort of to the roots look, and everything is packaged in very nicely, very simply, and very legible. So you know exactly what's in each portion. They give you earbuds, a pouch, cables, manuals, everything you need, and it's all just nicely snugged together in a very cohesive package. Obviously you get the case and earbuds, which are beautifully crafted and beautiful looking, but everything else that's included helps bring that sort of cohesion together. I chose the brown ones because I thought they looked pretty solid, sort of like a bronze, but they were also the only ones available on Amazon. However, they do have a bunch of other colors that may fit your style a little bit better, so check those out. Moving on to the case, it has a mirrored finish that, while attractive, is also a fingerprint magnet. Over time, I'd imagine it would be susceptible to scuffs and scratches. However, I will say that it has a nice feel in hand due to its smooth finish, weighty feel, and quality clasps. The front of the case has a center light to indicate case battery levels, as well as a left and right light to indicate the earbuds battery levels. Lastly, it can charge via USB-C and can be replenished to 50% in 15 minutes. Sadly, there is no wireless charging option for these MW08s. This is by far the best case that I've carried in hand. However, I almost never wanted to carry it around with me because I was scared of scratching it. However, it does have that pouch, and I definitely have used that when testing these However, with 30 additional hours, you're not going to be charging this thing that often, and throughout the week, I didn't charge at all. I never found myself needing to plug it in. So overall, you'll be fine with battery, no worries about charging options. As we talk about the earbuds, they seem to have abandoned the wing design from the previous generation and focused on ergonomic moldings for the fit. The earbuds themselves last a long time on a single charge. I could easily get a couple of days of listening without having to think about the battery dying out on me. Also, each earbud can be charged on its own, so if one dies, you can charge it up while one earing your music on the other. Lastly, in terms of controls, they leverage physical buttons with a rocker on the left, which controls your volume and ANC and ambient sound modes, and on the right side it controls all of your playback features. These are relatively responsive but not tremendously satisfying. On ear, the controls are a bit small and they're hard to find. Also, while they are tactile, they do have a bit of squish to them due to the low travel, so they're less satisfying and affirming when comparing them to the Jabras. Coming back to fit, the MW08s are pretty low profile, and the flat aesthetic really hides these headphones on your head. The earbuds come in 5 sizes for ear tips, and they're made of silicone. I'd really suggest playing around with these tips, as I found myself between a medium and large depending on the activity. Despite the sizing options, I did find myself struggling to find a good fit with these. No matter the tip or how far I twisted them in my ears, any major movements made them feel like they were going to be falling out, and they were just hanging by a thread, even though they never really did under normal activity. However, the need to control the earbuds through the squishy buttons did push the earbuds out of place at times, and I found myself readjusting a lot as a result. But obviously I gotta test the active fit as well, and this is where it broke down quickly. I started my workout relatively okay, but within 5 minutes, the headphones popped out. I readjusted, and they popped out again. I switched tips, and then they popped out again. They simply wouldn't stay in with major jumping or change in direction. I had to finish the first part of my session with the Sonys. I did give them another chance after I put the jump rope away, and I found better success when doing ladder drills. Even through hard stepping and running, the headphones seemed to stay. They still felt like they were about to fall out the entire time, but I tried my best not to fidget with them or notice them. But as a result, I was extremely cognizant that they were in my ears and I wasn't really locked into my workout. It's not going to stop me from hitting targets, but it's definitely annoying. While in the field, I also tested out the Bluetooth range. Master Dynamics rates the MW08s at 30 meters or 100 feet. Unfortunately, in my testing, this was false. I started getting connection hiccups at 10 yards. I was able to still get random signals at 30 yards, but it was no way a serviceable connection. I'd get literally every 20th word or so. I can't imagine these ever being reliable up to 100 feet, so this is definitely not up to snuff with last generation's earbuds. Most every other headphone I tried over the past 12 months had a solid connectivity range. The MW08s were pretty disappointing, especially because I was in an open field with no obstacles. As we go into the app, there isn't really much here. It's extremely basic and only lets you control your ANC, ambient sound, shut-off timer, and in-ear detection. That means no EQ nor control configuration, so you have to rely on stock tuning and button mappings. But we'll get back into that later in this review. For ambient sound mode, they give you two flavors. One being voice, which focuses on conversation, and two being awareness, which brings in more things into the microphones. Similarly, for ANC, they have two modes, all day for better battery life and less noisy environments, or max ANC for noisy environments like planes. While this is good, it still lags behind other competitors that have sliders for more refined customization. With limited customization and controls predetermined, the app almost has no value at this point. I hope they push some updates that bring more key features into the app as well as more power into these earbuds. But with that, let's move on to ANC and ambient sound performance. Ambient noise was quite pleasant. Noises were well produced and natural sounding in awareness mode, but voices did get a bit digitized in voice mode. It definitely emphasized voices well in that mode, making conversations well understood. As for ANC, it's just that. It definitely helps cut out some noise, but nowhere near what Apple and Sony do. I was surprised to still be able to hear conversations when passing people, and even loud distant noises got through the headphones. Wind also seemed to seep in at times in both modes. With it raining here in Boston, I decided to use the rainfall for our next sound test. Enjoy. Normal isolation, no modes set on.
Ambient listening on. Noise cancelling on.
All day. Max. Okay.
Noise cancelling off.
Mode again, and then do the same test with voice because they do have some voice focused on some of the modes. So this is how it sounds with normal isolation. So this is ambient mode awareness, and this is supposed to give a good understanding of just your overall surroundings, no focus on anything specifically. And now switching to voice in 3, 2, 1, and this is the voice mode. So tell me if you can hear a difference between my voice and see if it's more focused, and if you guys hear any differences in how it sounds overall.
Noise cancelling on.
So this ANC mode is the all-day ANC. This is more battery saving and required without environments like in your office or in the library or less things are going on. So it will drown out things less with the running back through that recording, I would say it's pretty close to what I hear on ear. This could be a result of the difficulty of me personally to find a proper seal with these headphones, but even my Here's microphone was having issues maintaining a fit, even with the smallest ear tips. In fact, halfway through the recording, one of the earbuds squeezed out. So, you may get better results if you can achieve a better fit than I have. With sound modes out of the way, let's focus on the sound quality. The MW08s sound amazing out of the box, which is good because you can't EQ the thing. I think they are pretty well balanced overall, but you should get some additional boom out of bass lines. The bass is punchy and responsive and doesn't get muddy and rarely outpunches the vocals on songs. Vocals come out strong and resolve beautifully at the end of lines. They have pretty solid separation of instruments and help keep characteristics distinct. Listening to jazz and complicated instrumentals never felt like a melty mess. Everything was easily discernible and enjoyable. Volume-wise, these headphones stay in control throughout their whole range, and I don't think I ever encountered an issue of distortion throughout any of my listening sessions. I will say that the MW08s probably are 10% quieter than the Sonys, but still beyond usable for everyone. In terms of spoken voice, they came out quite detailed, and I think you actually notice the mic quality and proximity a bit more with these. When listening to podcasts, I definitely notice the plosives and the P's and S's in people's sentences more. Deep voices sounded great on these, and it really lets their depth, characteristic, and grit of their voices shine. Lastly, feel free to use these on videos, movies, and games. They punch well, and I didn't notice any audio lag. But have a listen for yourself and see how these sound to you. So I hope those sound samples help you guys understand how these headphones sound to your ears, but I do want to wrap this up talking about the microphones, especially because a lot of people will be using this for conferencing or their calls. So I think it's very, very clear, it's very, very crisp, and I haven't had any issues with someone saying that I came in muffled. So definitely clarity is very solid in that perspective. And even when I was walking outside, doing errands during meetings, I haven't had really issues with wind, despite weather not being the greatest in Boston right now. And I think it's because of the placement of the microphones. It's towards the back, so the wind kind of, doesn't get as affected because it's not up front. However, I think that proprietary technology that they have is doing a really good job about making sure it's isolating that sort of inconsistency from your actual voice. So whatever they're doing with that is actually great technology, and I think it's the reason why you're able to come in so clear, even through the ANC. Voices are able to come in, and they're able to isolate that very, very well. I think the solid nature of the microphones is also the reason why the awareness mode is so good. It's just probably the reason why it knows what to bring in really well.
Unfortunately, it doesn't really translate in terms of the ANC. So it's really good about, reproducing sound and bringing that into the microphones. But for some reason, whether that's, software issue or something that around the identification of noises, that it can't block out noise as well as it can reproduce noise. So that's probably the reason why their ANC is weak. Hopefully it's something they can fix in, firmware updates and things like that. But I just noticed that, ANC is not as good as the ambient sound mode and how the microphones sound on the call. I will say that much like the voice mode, there is a little bit of digitization when it comes to how the voice comes off. So it's not the most natural sounding voice that I've heard from microphones. I definitely give that to the Jabras or even the Sennheisers at points. But yeah, these sound still very clear. Like, I don't think that you should be concerned. You're not going to sound like a complete robot, but if you listen closely to what I'm saying, you will see a slight, just a slight digitization of my voice that doesn't quite put it in the realm of like great quality. But it's still a better mic than Sony. It just may not get you the same kind of voice quality as like the AirPods Pro or some of the Jabra options that are out there in the market. But hopefully this gives you guys an understanding if you can use these mics and if you like how it sounds. Let me get my final thoughts out.
So these guys, man, did I want these to work, because this is an attractive case and it just feels so substantial in your hand. Again, if you're looking at getting these, again, despite my recommendation, if you want to get these, get the black ones, because they are going to be brushed metal and less smudgy looking. It's just going to look a lot more attractive than having fingerprints everywhere. But yeah, the cases and the build is just so beautiful that you want to keep it. However, from everything that I've tested, it's not something that I can keep because it's just too many quirks for me. In terms of the fit, I just couldn't find a solid fit despite having 5 options of earbuds. Everything just felt like it was on the edge of falling out, whether it was too big or too small. It just wouldn't work. And then if you ever got more active, screwed. Just never ever gonna find a fit, and it's just gonna pop out of your ear. But the other thing that makes that a problem is that they use tactile buttons. Not really tactile, they use squishy buttons, and because of the fact is you can't get a very good confirmation of the press, and then you're always kind of holding and pressing the earbud, and you're moving that around, so it's adjusting the fit, and then you end up having to readjust. So it's just constant fear of this thing falling out. So it's not the greatest experience from controls or fit. And then that kind of extends into their controls in their app, which is super limited. The app is really just ANC or ambient noise. And even then, we don't have the granularity that other things like Jabra, Sony, and Sennheiser do. We just have presets. So I can only change things up a little bit, while I get a ton of granularity from both ANC and ambient from those competitors. And the ANC is not that good. I can still hear in the outside world when I have your max setting on. Is it really ANC, or is it just isolating it slightly better? I was just really surprised by that. And again, I live in a city, so being able to isolate those things out is kind of needed for me. And as I've listened to a bunch of different headphones, even cheaper headphones like the Jabra 75Ts performed better in my opinion. Again, ambient sound mode is great. I think that they do a good job about reproducing voices and noises more naturally than maybe the Sonys, but I have to do some more comparison. But I think the ambient sound mode, you shouldn't have an issue. And then lastly, as it comes back to this app, the app just needs more updating, because the fact is I can't EQ these while I can do that with all the other competitors. Again, these sound fine out of the box, especially for podcast and voice. You'll be blown away by how good people's voices sound and the depth that you can get from that. And just overall from music, it's pretty clear, it's pretty crisp, nothing seems really bloated, it's very balanced, so I do like the sound out of it. However, the Jabras and the Sonys get benefit from having the ability to EQ that sound towards your ears. If this sounds so good out of the box, it would be interesting to see if I could EQ this, how much more I could get out of it. Again, something that they can do in firmware, but I usually don't make decisions based off of future potential, more of what I have right now. But yeah, I think that's basically what I would say, is that it's not in a state where I could recommend it. If you want to wait around a little bit, wait for the updates to come, I think that's probably your best bet. But I can't recommend these as of yet. However, I am doing some more listening as I compare these with the Sonys and the Bowers & Wilkins, which is coming up in the next review. And then, you know, once I get all of my understanding of it, I'll update you guys with anything that might have changed my mind through listening to these more in depth over the next couple weeks. But again, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. There's been so much more engagement over the last week, and I don't know what it is, whether it be the shorts or because those videos are coming out more often, but yeah, I've been getting more subscribers than I usually get after a video, as well as comments and likes and all that sort of engagement. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys sticking it out with me. But if you're new here, consider liking, subscribing, commenting, do all the things you normally do on a video that you like and love. And if you are returning, thank you guys so much for that support. You guys have been the main reason that my channel has been blowing up so well. And you know, we're getting closer to that 1,000 mark that we are trying to hit. So if you guys can help me out, share the video. Obviously, that'd be highly appreciated. But yes, again, July's gonna continue. We just started. Gonna be a bunch of headphones, so be prepared. But yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks.